Oh, my Lord, honey, here we were. Grown adults sitting in the dark and him a-scribbling and a-scribbling and a-scribbling. Oh, the pain. Ruby, she's done it. I seen a hand laying in a pool of blood. Speak. Speak. Speak! And you know how sometimes you can get that feeling that somebody is watching you? Ooh. And them big ugly claws and the blood and the huh? The beast has a new number, 90210. We no longer see you as an evil spirit, more like an economic angel. The main thing is the original bloodstain itself is still there. Now, we've touched it up just a little bit. Have I seen the ghost? Yeah, I seen the ghost. She's a big, bad, naked lesbian who rides a Harley and drags tourists around like chicken bones. She wants a big government, she votes Democratic, and she never goes to church. Now that ought to scare him away.
I know what you come for. You come to see me tell you the truth.
You'll never kill me, because I've been dead since I was born.
I'm Janine Jones.
I'm so sick of justice I can puke.
The baby killer.
A good murder? Like a good meal.
Beautiful, isn't it?
They had no right to laugh at me.
The army of the night is waiting.
Stabbing her again.
Because I have to do the thinking.
And again and again.
God damn! Oh!
And again.
I'll leave you on the floor dying in your own blood.
There's really no control at this point.
Riordan. Hello. Hello. My name is Heather Riordan. Hi, Heather. Hello. Hello. My name is Heather Riordan. Hello. My name is Heather Graham. Hello. My name is Martha Graham. Hello. My name is Henny Youngman. Hello.
How's everything going?
name is
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you have all been waiting for. Cast your eyes upon center stage, where you will be amused and amazed by jokes and their relation to the unconscious, with your host, Greg Allen.
I'd like to thank you for joining us this evening for our little theatrical experiment, our test, if you will. Tonight, Ms. Riordan, Mr. Bayiates, and myself will be conducting this test of a classic form of stage and screen entertainment, a form which each and every one of you is very familiar with, but which you rarely see directly explored here on stage, and for good reason. You see, tonight I will be your host for a theatrical exploration into the nature, origin, and methodology of comedy. Yes, we're going to be looking at what makes something funny right here on stage. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, you can't explore the nature of comedy on stage. It's like trying to explain a joke. It suffers a horrible, excruciating death. Well, that's exactly what we're trying to do. You see, by looking into such questions as, what makes something funny? When does something stop being funny? What makes something stop being funny? And can that something ever be funny again? We hope to uncover, understand, and therefore do away with the very inner workings of comedy itself. By raising your consciousness of what causes the comic response, we hope to eliminate that response for time immemorial. In other words, we hope to put the final nail in the coffin of comedy forever. Now you might well ask, Greg, why would you want to do such a thing? You might well ask. Greg, why? The answer? I think it's funny. Now, it's very important that you know a few things before we get started, as if we haven't gotten started already. Since we'll be dealing directly with comedy this evening and using the audience as an integral point of our study, it's incredibly important that you let us know when something is funny. Now, we could use a show of hands or perhaps a written evaluation at the end of the night as to what was or wasn't funny, but tonight we've decided to go with a tried and true method called laughter. After evaluating numerous forms of comic indication, from semaphore code to darts, we found laughter to be the best indicator of something which is truly funny. This, for instance. Very good, very good. You see, there's no need to take a poll or fill out a form or anything. I now know that this is funny because you laughed. If you hadn't laughed, I would have had to move on to something else, like this. Or perhaps this. But since you laughed at this, I know without a doubt that that is funny. So since we agree that that's funny, let us use it as our litmus test, as it were, of something at which to laugh. If at any point in the course of the evening it appears as though you have forgotten that laughter is the designated form of comic indication, I might remind you by doing this. To make sure you remember how to respond to successful comedy over the course of the evening.
Greg?
Yes, Andy?
I still think that drawing people's attention to laughter is a bad idea.
Really?
Yeah, in fact, if people start thinking about what's funny and how and when they should respond, it might actually eliminate their ability to do so. Common psychology says that if you make people self-conscious of their behavior, they'll lose their ability to do much of anything. Certainly to behave naturally.
So it's better not to tell them that?
Yes.
Thanks.
Sure.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Please ignore everything I've just said.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and enjoy jokes and their relation to the unconscious.
Hi. Hi. My name is Andy. I may not be your host, but I do perform a very important role in the show tonight. See, I'm sort of the running...
Andy!
Yes, Heather.
I think we should find out what is funny, and then move on to why it's funny. How does that sound?
Great, Heather.
Hey, Andy.
Yes, Heather.
Take off your shirt. You know what, Andy? That was funny.
Yes, mildly funny, I would say.
Yes. From this, we can conclude someone taking off their shirt is funny.
Great.
Yes, Andy?
Well, I was just thinking maybe it's only funny when I take off my shirt.
That could be, Andy. That could be.
Yeah. Hey, Heather.
Yes, Andy?
Take off your shirt. No, I think that proves it. Someone taking off their shirt is funny.
Maybe.
Well, what are you thinking?
Maybe what's funny is just someone on stage taking off their shirt.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg!
Yes, Heather?
Take off your shirt. Hey, Lauren!
Yes, Heather.
Take off your shirt. Yeah, I guess funny. Yeah. Definitely still funny.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Heather, though, we're all Neo-Futurists. Maybe it's only funny when a Neo-Futurist takes off their shirt.
That's a good point, Greg. Let's investigate this further. Take off your shirt. In fact, funnier.
I think
when
so.
someone
Yeah.
who's not a Neo-Futurist takes off their shirt. Let's try it again.
Yeah.
Take off your shirt. Now that's very interesting. Someone refusing to take off their shirt seems to be just as funny as someone actually taking off their shirt.
Well, perhaps just anything happening after the directive take off your shirt is funny.
Hey, Andy.
Yes, Heather.
Take off your shirt. I think that proves it. Anything happening after the directive, take off your shirt. Take off your shirt.
That was interesting.
Yeah, that was odd dynamic.
Hey, Heather, try me.
Hey, Greg.
Yes, Heather?
Take off your shirt. They laughed. What did you do?
I just stood here.
Well, no, this still proves my theory.
How so?
Sure, anything happening after the directive take off your shirt is funny. Greg stood there, so it was funny.
Oh, I think Andy's got a point. Here, try me again.
Hey, Greg.
Yes, Heather?
Take off your shirt. Yeah, this guy laughed. What'd you do?
I just stood here, really.
Well, stop doing that.
Okay.
Try to get Andy.
Hey, Greg.
Yes, Andy.
Take off your shirt.
It's funny again, Greg. What'd you do?
I maybe stood a little to the right.
Well, cut it out.
Hey, Greg.
Yes, Andy.
Take off your shirt.
No laugh.
Well, no, this still goes along with my theory.
How so?
Well, anything happening after the directive take off your shirt is funny. This time, Greg didn't get a laugh because he didn't do anything.
Yes, I did.
What'd you do?
I wiggled my left testicle.
Wait, now that got a laugh.
Maybe it was a delay.
A delay?
Yeah, maybe wiggling your left testicle in response to the directive take off your shirt is only funny 10 seconds after you do it.
I think it has to do with the audience not knowing about it. I mean, once they found out that Greg wiggled his testicle, then they laughed.
So you're saying that even if Greg wiggled his left testicle in response to the directive take off your shirt, and no one knew about it for like, say, a half an hour, it would still be funny when they found out?
Yes, I think so.
Give me a try.
Are you gonna wiggle your left testicle?
I don't know, let's just find out. Give me the directive.
Hey, Andy.
Yes, Heather.
Take off your shirt. The audience laughed because you wiggled your left testicle.
No, I didn't do it.
You didn't?
No, I tried, but I couldn't.
Well, how do you know?
What do you mean, how do I know?
Well, how do you know you didn't succeed in wiggling your left testicle? I mean, the audience laughed, so maybe you wiggled your testicle.
Oh, that's true. You've got a point. We could conclude from the converse. Since the audience laughed, I must have wiggled my left testicle.
No. But how do we know whether Andy truly did or didn't wiggle his left testicle? What we need here, people, is facts. Scientific proof.
I gotta drop this.
No. Wait, why did they laugh? Did you just wiggle your testicle?
No, I don't think so. And I didn't do it intentionally. And even if I did, it didn't follow the directive take off your shirt.
Well, then why did they laugh?
Maybe it was a delay.
A delay?
Yeah, maybe it was a delay from the previous time you told me to take off my shirt and I wasn't sure if I wiggled my testicle.
And they're laughing because?
Because I did.
But they already laughed at that.
Well, maybe it's just come around again, you know, like a second wave of laughter.
A second wave?
Sure.
Hold on, guys. You're
laughs.
just stretching. You're stretching.
What?
What we need here is a larger cross-section of the general population in order to make this a truly valid test. Okay, Andy, stand here, please. Okay, and could you please stand up? And you, sir, could you please stand up? And could you please stand up? Yeah, you. Okay, and I'll stand over here. Now, okay, we're set. Heather, do it.
Do what?
Give the directive.
Should they wiggle their testicle?
Whatever, let's just find out. You're the tester.
You're the testees. Wait, why did they laugh?
Just ignore that. Just move on. Just move on.
Take off your shirt. Take off your shirt. Take off your shirt. Take off your shirt. Take off your shirt.
Okay, let's see what happened. Okay, Andy, you got a very good response. What'd you do?
I wiggled my left testicle.
Hey.
I think. I mean,
From the converse. I see.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. You got a pretty good response. What did you do?
Stood here.
You just stood there?
She
it's
giggled a little.
She giggled and looked
Yeah.
off to the side. Yeah, I liked that. Okay, and you, sir, you got a very good response because you...
I wiggled the whole
I noticed. We call that the tea bag. Sorry, we'll drop that here. And now you. Sorry about that. You now.
Pretty much just chewed my gum.
I'm sorry, you what?
Chewed my gum.
Chewed your gum. And got kind of a slight response. I thought you were really excellent at kind of almost doing, just kind of just being there. Interesting, but you chewed your gum slightly, which is why you got a slight laugh. There you go. There you go. And I did my weird little hop thing, and it got a response. So I would say anything happening after the directive take off your shirt is funny. Great, thank you for your participation in the name of science. Please put your clothes back on, everybody.
Okay, Andy, so where are we?
well, I think that we just proved that anything happening after the directive take off your shirt is funny.
Okay, so like I said, where are we?
Well, I think that proves that certain words followed by certain actions are humorous.
Can we extrapolate on that at all?
Oh yeah, sure. From every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
I think you might be extrapolating a bit much, Andy. I think the take off your shirt test was certainly successful, as evidenced here. But I think we're looking for something a little broader, a little more all-encompassing, to really know what it is, this funny.
What about the classics?
The classics?
Yes, the classics.
You don't mean yes. Uncle Miltie, get the book!
Oh, we don't have the book.
We don't have the book. We had the book for years.
No, we don't have the book. We have the sequel.
The sequel?
Yes, we have the sequel. We'll get the real book soon enough, but for now, we'll use the sequel.
More of the best of Milton Berle's private joke files. 10,000 of the world's funniest gags, anecdotes, and one-liners. Price to move at $15 paperback. All hail! Okay, people, give me a subject. Throw out a subject. Subject.
Milk.
Fishes? What? Fishy?
Fishing.
Fishing. I don't think fishy's in here, but I'll look for both, okay? Family, famous last words, famous quotes, fish and fishing. How about that? Give me a number between 1 and 14.
14.
The dogfish in Tennessee are big and mean. People report that they've seen 2 of them tree a bear. All hail! Genius!
How does he do it?
Brilliant!
The joy!
The artfulness!
The integrity!
The genius!
What I would do for that kind of mom.
I'd kill my own mother.
Your own mother.
Well, she's kind of loose.
Your own mother.
Never mind, Andy, never mind. Let's write it down on the board. All right. Now that we have a classic example of comedy incarnate, directly from the venerable lips of Milton Berle himself, let us attempt to examine the unparalleled genius encased in this little gem, shall we? Andy, are you ready?
Oh, not yet, Heather.
Take your time. Enjoy, Andy, enjoy. Relish the brilliance. Taste the metaphors. Smell the symmetry. Are you ready, Andy?
Not quite yet, Heather.
That's okay. Luxuriate over the syntax. Stagger over the sentence structure. Whimper at the wit. Are you ready, Andy?
No.
Well, dance upon the dactyls, Andy. Sing out with the assonance. Tread lightly upon the tetrameter. Are you done, Andy?
No, not yet.
Jesus, cradle the caesuras. Matriculate the metonymy. Ovate the onomatopoeia.
Ovate the
Look, I'm
onomatopoeia.
stretching. Finish up already.
I just finished a split second.
Let's revisit tonight's chosen nugget of Berle and drollery, if we can contain ourselves. The dogfish in Tennessee are big and mean. People report that they've seen 2 of them tree a bear.
It's even better the second time.
That's the way he is. Now, let's examine the linguistic elements themselves. Now, the focus of this piece is dogfish, which is here in the subject position. Now, this is the traditional placement of the masters: Berle, Youngman, Hope, and Rickles. But you'll note here that it is preceded by the word the, which is a rare choice to my eye. Now, I would say this is vintage, I'm going to say vintage 1962 Berle. Yeah. When he was traditionally leading into the word dogfish with the word fag. But you'll note here how he makes it double back on itself without relying on tradition. A true sign of the master at work. Now, if he had used that, the joke would have read, the fag dogfish in Tennessee are big and mean. People report that they've seen 2 of them tree a bear. nowhere near the hilarity. Or if they had used a perfectly fine word like ball, the joke would have read, "The ball in Tennessee are big and mean. People report that they've seen 2 of them treat a bear."
A mere shadow of the original, Heather.
Yes, yes. And this is true of every single syllable in the complete works of Berle.
Now, how about the dogfish in Tennessee are big and mean? People report that they've seen 2 of them ball a bear.
That's not all. Andy, read the original joke.
Sure. The dogfish in Tennessee are big and mean. People report that they've seen 2 of them tree a bear.
Andy, did you notice the pause before the audience laughed?
I'd say it's basically still going on, Heather.
This is a true sign of the master of work. Now, the time between the telling of the joke and the laughter of the audience is a measure of the complexity of the joke.
It's a delay.
I found with vintage Berle, it can take an audience 5, 10, even 20 seconds to truly appreciate.
Wow, 20 seconds. You know your Berle, Heather Riordan.
Yes, yes, I do. And what I've found over the years is, the longer the pause, the better the humor.
Hey, that's a veritable proverb, Heather.
It is, Andy. It is a proverb.
Should we all learn the proverb?
Yes, yes. Repeat after me. The longer the pause,
the longer the pause,
the better the humor.
The better the humor.
Very good.
Hey, can I try it with another one?
Oh, be my guest.
An oyster is a fish that's built like a nut. Hey, you're right. The longer the pause, the better the humor.
What did I tell you? It's a proverb.
I think the audience is already beginning to pick up on the nature of comedy, Heather.
All part of the grand scheme.
What?
Nothing, nothing.
Hey, Heather, what about the joke's internal,
What about the joke's internal timing, Andy?
timing, Heather? Is it important?
Oh, yes. Listen to the effect if the timing is disrupted. An oyster is a fish that's built like a nut.
Wow, you're right. Timing is important.
Oh, yeah. You screw with that and you're fucked.
You're screwed.
You're fucked.
You're motherfucked.
Cock-sucking.
You're riding the chocolate tramway.
You are fucked up the ass, my friend.
In one ear and out the other.
Fucked in the ear?
Sure, right through the brain.
In through the old oral cavity.
The sound of fucking.
Andy, I think we've strayed a bit. Andy.
Oh, sure we have, but fuck it, Heather. The audience seems to be enjoying it.
Andy. Drop the vulgarity and rein ourselves in.
Oh, come on, the fuckers love
Andy.
it.
Okay. What have we learned so far, Andy?
Milton Berle is a genius.
Yes, yes. But what have we learned about the inviolable elements of comedy?
Word choice.
Yes, very good.
Timing.
Excellent. What else?
The longer the pause, the better the humor.
Precisely. And before that?
Anything happening after the directive, take off your shirt, is funny. It's funny.
Clearly. Now, we seem to be moving beyond what is funny and beginning to tackle why something is funny. Isn't that right, Andy?
Fuck yes, Heather.
Andy, thought we'd gotten over that.
Yes, we have, but we forgot to mention to the audience that swearing is cum-guzzling hysterical.
Yes, Andy. Vulgarity does seem to strike a certain note, especially with this section here. But your participation in this part of the play is over now, so it's time for you to leave the stage.
Oh, Heather.
Go.
Cunt.
Here, in the persona of Greg and his wookie bit, we have a perfect example of something funny.
Should I do it again?
No, I think it's been fully ingrained in our heads. In order to completely intellectualize the experience of humor, let's break this down and analyze its component parts to find out why it's funny. Greg, would you begin with the physical?
Just the physical.
Yes. And now with the left hand.
Left.
Oh, a little more with the left, yeah? Now, can you shift the focus?
Shift the focus.
Yes. does seem to affect the comic impact, yes. Now, do just the vocal.
Just the vocal. Wookie, wookie, wookie.
Now, with the nipple.
With the nipple, excellent. Okay. Wookie, wookie.
Wow, okay, now slow it way down.
Slow it down, okay. Wookie, wookie, wookie.
And now quickly.
Wookie, wookie, wookie.
Gosh, I don't know, I'm being thrown here.
Heather, if I may.
Oh, be my guest.
We all know about the importance of timing, but what about its intrinsic link to space? I believe comedy has much to do with proximity. That is, the distance between the elements on the comic stage is directly proportional to the laugh. If I could volunteer. What's your name? Sue. You stand right over here. This is Sue. Stand, turn, there's the audience. There you go. And okay, we're going to separate the comic elements on the stage. Could you try the vocal, the sound? Try it now. Excellent. Good. Yeah, you gotta stand. And I'll keep this distance and I'll just do the action. Okay, and now let's combine them. Are you ready? And go. Okay, now we're going to close the proximity, close this distance. I'll stand right next to her and again. You seem to be having trouble with that. Okay, let's switch it around. I'll do the act. I'll do the. Okay, I'll do the sound. You do the action. Ready? Very good. Now I'll stand over here, and now we're going to increase the distance yet again. Okay, and again. Excellent. Now, you all see the effect of separating the comic elements on the stage. This can be taken even further. I can stand all the way over here. Okay, you ready, Sue? That's interesting. Now, I think this can be taken even further. Stay right there. I can stand right out here. And again. Very good. Now, Sue, I'm going to stay right there. I'm going to move even further. And again.
He wants to talk to you.
Is everything okay? Are you sure? Phone call?
Take off your shirt! Andy, stop that! Stop that! I'm sorry, pay no attention to him. He's the running gag. No minute. She did so nicely. Well, despite Greg's attempt to prove some ludicrous link between time and space, I think we have, in fact, just demonstrated another central element in the theory of humor.
What's that?
Power.
Power?
Strength.
Strength?
Superiority of one party over another.
Party like.
No, that's one person being superior over another. In every instance of comedy, there's an innate contrast between those with the power and those without. Now this can be seen in famous comic duos. Laurel and Hardy, Martin and Lewis, Bush and Quayle. Now, if we examine these certain elements, it's quite easy to see. Oliver Hardy over Stan Laurel. Dean Martin over Jerry Lewis. George Bush over her. Okay. Dan, all right, that's a tough one, but usually this inequality is the case. If we examine...
Eggs over easy. Eggs over easy.
I don't get you, Andy.
What you're talking about, the superiority of a thing over a thing. Eggs over easy.
No, Andy, that doesn't work.
Sure it does. You put a little butter in the pan, fry up some eggs.
No, Andy, we're not talking about cooking. We're talking about comic theory.
Thought you were talking about things over other things.
Yes, but only in a clear sense of superiority. Now, if we examine certain...
Hand over fist.
No, Andy, that doesn't work.
Yes, it does. He's making money hand over fist. You see, the hand is clearly superior to the fist.
Andy, that's not what I meant. That doesn't work.
Actually, I was wondering about that because your fist would naturally be stronger than your hand. I mean, if I whack my hand with my fist, it'd really hurt.
It's a different sense of the word over.
I got what the sense.
If we examine certain...
It ain't over till it's over. Bang.
Andy.
It ain't over till it's over.
Andy, no. No, that does not work.
Well, yes it does. Look, because in that case you actually have two overs to choose from. You have it ain't over, meaning when it's over, the it referring to the thing that is being over, and then you have till it's over, in which case the over refers to another it, which I think is a completely different it, or I don't know, maybe it's the same. But does that help to illustrate the point that you're trying to make?
Andy?
Yes?
Do you know what this section of the play is called?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Would you care to share with these people what this section of the play is called?
The audience.
Yes, Andy, the audience.
Yeah, no problem.
Would you care to do that now, Andy?
Oh, sure. Okay, this section of the show is entitled The Cult of the Dumb Guy.
The Cult of the Dumb Guy. Do you know why it's called that, Andy?
No, but I could guess.
No, I don't think that's advisable. This section is entitled The Cult of the Dumb Guy because it explores a certain age-old methodology of how to get a laugh, used from everyone from Aristophanes to Shakespeare, from W.C. Fields to Woody Allen.
Cults.
No, the use of the dumb guy.
Dumb guy? What?
In this case, Andy, that would be you. Oh! The cult of the dumb guy, as I like to call it, is a long-standing technique where we have a character whose mental ability is clearly below that of our own. So that we...
Me!
Yes, Andy, that's right. So below that of our own, so that we, the audience, can laugh at him.
You're talking about me!
Yes, Andy, we sure are. So that we can laugh at him and feel superior.
But I'm not in a cult, Heather.
The dumb guy! The dumb guy! Get it? This is the cult of the dumb guy, and you are the dumb guy in it!
I see.
You do.
Yes, I understand.
Would you care to share what you understand with the audience?
Sure. There's no need to shout. This section of the show is entitled The Cult of the Dumb Guy, and I am the aforementioned dumb guy of the title.
Yes.
And that's why I keep saying stupid things and asking stupid questions.
Correct.
This is an age-old technique used by humorists for centuries, used by the likes of Aristophanes and Shakespeare and W.C. Fields and Matt Groening.
I said Woody Allen, but that's okay.
Creating the dumb character gives the audience an easy target for humor, a feeling of superiority over others.
Yes.
By depicting the dumb and the smart character together, an obvious dramatic foil is set up in which the audience, through identification with the smarter character, is made to feel all the smarter by knowing all the answers ahead of time.
I didn't quite get there, but yes, that's the gist of it.
At the same time, the common audience enjoys the comedy of making fun of intellectuals, often the elite, by seeing the intentionality of the dumb guy whose barbs are often contrived so as to frustrate the know-it-all character.
What do you mean?
During the years of the minstrel show, this formula was even more loaded by all characters performing in blackface so that these strictly white minstrel show audiences could reaffirm their racism by mocking both characters on stage as either pompous or ignorant Negroes.
I didn't know that.
The simplicity of this formula obviously appeals to the lowest, most common elements of the population, as is witnessed in the popularity and success of television shows like Gilligan's Island and Friends.
I like Friends.
And speaking of this phenomenon, Henri Bergson analyzes low and high humor in terms of its malicious content. Henri Bergson. In terms of its... Henri Bergson.
Who?
My lips for a second, Heather. Henri
Bergson.
Bergson.
Birdsong.
No, Bergson.
No, Bergson.
In his book, Laughter and the Meaning of the Comic, Bergson... Henri Bergson.
Henri?
The central proponent of creative evolution. It's a philosophy. A theory of the internal workings of the mind, Heather.
The mind.
We have now entered the flowers for Algernon section of the show. The mind.
The mind.
No, the mind, like your mind.
Your mind.
Your brain.
Your brain.
Stop repeating what I say. Your brain.
Your brain.
Fine. Your head.
Your head.
Don't touch me, Heather. Listen to me. Your mind.
Your
Heather.
mind.
Your mind. Stop repeating what I say.
Your mind.
Your mind.
Your mind.
Okay, fine. My mind.
Your mind.
Heather.
Heather.
Look up. Stop it.
Stop.
Stop that. Greg. Help! Oh my God!
What is going on?
Thank God you're here. Heather lost her mind during the cult of the dumb guy, and I can't seem to get her back.
The cult of the dumb guy?
Yeah, you know the section of the show where we take pot shots using stupidity to get a laugh?
Why'd you do that, Andy?
No, I didn't do it. Heather did it.
Why'd you do that, Heather? Heather, why were you smoking pot?
No, Heather wasn't smoking pot. She lost her mind.
Obviously from smoking pot.
What?
You said it.
Said what?
That Heather was smoking pot.
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't. Heather did.
Did what?
Smoked pot.
What are you talking about?
You said that during the dolt and the cum guy, Heather smoked pot in order to get laughed. Enough of the hilarity. I think they're ready, Heather.
You think so, Greg?
Sure. Folks over there,
See what you mean?
this whole section,
Oh, yeah.
they're ready.
Primed and ready.
They've been warned.
They knew what they were in for.
It was stated at the outset of the show.
They've had their fun.
And now they're ready.
Ready for the turn.
Ready for the twist.
Ready for the thumb screws.
Ready for the show to claim its ultimate victim.
To take its ultimate form.
And in so doing,
To reach its ultimate intent.
the death of comedy.
The loss of laughter.
The rape of the joke.
The harrowing of humor.
Driving the nails in.
The stake to the heart.
The twist of the knife.
The dagger to the gut.
Wrenching the balls until they...
Hey, guys! Hey, guys!
Yes, Andy?
What's going on, Andy?
I found a book.
Oh, that's very good. I bet there are more. Go look.
No. I found the book.
The book.
The book.
The book?
The book of the show. Jokes in their relation to the unconscious. It's the same title.
Oh, the same
Jokes in their
title.
relation to the book. It really is the book.
But this is supposed to be a world premiere.
Oh,
Well, it looks like somebody's done it already, Greg.
Oh, impossible, Andy. Impossible. Who's it written by, Heather?
Well, gosh, it seems to be written by Dr. Sigmund Freud.
Whoa, he's a smart man, Greg.
Oh, yes, he was, Andy. Yes, he was.
He's dead?
Yes, Andy. Freud's dead.
I didn't know.
You know, gee, I wonder what killed him, though, huh?
Well, maybe he found out about some of the stuff we're trying to test.
Could be, Andy. That could be. What do you think, Heather?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. Maybe it's about something else.
Oh,
Sure, like actuarial statistics or animal husbandry.
that could be, Andy. Or perhaps it's about jokes and their relation to the unconscious.
Hence the title.
Hence the title.
So what do you want to do?
Well, we could read it.
Yeah, but that would take too long.
Yeah, that's good.
We could pretend to read it.
Pretend to read it?
Sure, like all of us.
I don't follow you, Andy.
Well, we could tell the audience that we're gonna read it during like a light shift or something.
And then...
And then Lauren brings the lights back up and we pretend to have read the book.
Pretend to have read the book.
You mean like asking the audience to suspend their disbelief?
Yeah.
No, you know, Andy really has a point here, Heather. Either we sit down and actually read the book.
How many pages?
341. Or we just pretend to read the book during some light shift of some sort, and then just ask the audience to go along with us.
What do you say?
Sounds good to me.
Let's read the book.
We're gonna read the book.
Hey, let's read the book.
Lights, Lauren!
Suddenly, there is a blackout which lasts as long as it takes for the audience to truly believe that Greg, Heather, and, to some extent, Andy have read and fully understood to their fullest intellectual capacity Dr. Sigmund Freud's jokes and their relation to the unconscious.
Nice book, Andy.
I thought it would help the illusion that we read the book.
Yes, I'm sure it does help that illusion. You know, Andy, after reading the book, it appears we were wrong.
We were wrong?
Yes, Dr. Freud doesn't seem to be supporting our conclusions.
Really?
Well, you read the book, Andy.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes. As did you. But, you know, maybe I didn't retain it as well as you did.
What do you remember, Andy?
Oh, bunches of things, sure. Okay. I remember in the chapter that entitled "The Cult of the Dumb Guy," Freud posits the theory that the dumb guy is funny because he says dumb things, and these dumb things are funny. And well, as we all know, funny things are funny.
No such chapter appears in the book, Andy.
Oh yeah, it's in the book, sure.
No, it's not in the book, Andy.
Okay, look, I'll find it for you. Whoa, I opened right up to it. In any case, we can already gather from the disputes about the delimitation of puns and play upon words that the former will not be able to help us to discover a completely new joke technique. If, in the case of puns, we give up the claim for the use of the same material in more than one sense, nevertheless, the accent falls on rediscovering what is familiar. Und the cult of the dumb guy.
No, Andy, no. The phrase cult of the dumb guy does not appear in the book.
I just read it to you. Okay, well now I lost my place.
No, Andy, no. The closest Dr. Freud comes to directly addressing the subject is in the second part of the 7th chapter, entitled Jokes and the Species of the Comic, in which he says, by making oneself out clumsy or stupid, one produces a comic effect exactly as if one were those things, by fulfilling the condition of the comparison which leads to the difference in expenditure. But one does not in this way make oneself out reprehensible, but in certain circumstances may even achieve admiration.
Wow. I guess you did retain more than me.
Yeah, I guess so.
But that wasn't funny.
No, it wasn't. Dr. Freud's central theory of humor is based on the belief that it is a release of a certain amount of unneeded psychic energy. What happens in our body, according to Dr. Freud, is we get anxious or nervous when we sense an impending conflict, something which threatens to collide with one of our inhibitions. And then, when that conflict is averted, we express that built-up energy through laughter. Laughter is a release of unused nervous energy.
Like a fart.
Excuse me?
No, like a fart. Passing gas. An anal yawn.
Andy, I don't see what that has to do with Dr.
Oh,
Freud.
sure you do. Every time you fart, you can feel it. There's this incredible internal pressure, and you think to yourself, oh God, here it comes. Oh, if I just squeeze it out slowly, no one will know. And then either you stifle the sucker and it squeaks out, or you let loose with this tremendous... and it's fucking hysterical.
Andy, we're talking about about a release of psychic energy.
Oh, you're telling me?
Dr. Freud would view this type of humor in terms of exposure of an activity repressed or unspoken of by society, and bringing it to light through a short-circuiting of traditional intimacy. This would include such behaviors as sexual or experimental needs.
Oh, Heather, you're on fire!
What makes us laugh, according to Dr. Freud, is overcoming those repressive tendencies and saving ourselves the exerted psychic energy of doing so by cutting straight to the chase, as it were, of the truth.
I'll show you the truth. Look at my truth.
Another example of this,
I command you!
would be the traditional stand-up comedy routine, which employs the, did you ever notice how everybody always blanks routine?
And then just sort of bend down and touch your toes.
Great.
Whoa, she farted!
Stop it, it's rude!
Oh, she farted!
Stop it!
People are laughing!
I know that is not the point.
It's not?
No, we're trying to get people to understand why they laugh.
Because she just farted!
Stop, come back here, come back. Andy, no, stop it. Look, go backstage and read the book.
I don't want to read the book. We just convinced them that we read it.
Well, review then, review, go.
I don't need to review. I know what's funny.
Go, get off stage, go. No, stop it. I am sorry. I am so very, I'm so sorry. These things happen periodically. As I was saying, Dr. Freud's theory of humor is an expansion and more complex reading of a theory first put forth by Herbert Spencer in the 19th century. I'm sorry. Herbert Spencer in the 19th century. Now, Spencer put forth the hydraulic theory of nervous energy, where nervous energy builds up in our body and must be released through muscular movement, not unlike Andy's little anal analogy, I suppose. Oh, fuck it. Oh, it's a wet one.
Stop that! Control yourself! What are you thinking? Stop that! Stop that, Heather. Are you done now?
Yes.
Aren't you a little ashamed of yourself? Go to your stool. Here we have an instance of what Freud would call unmasking, where the supposedly superior authority figure, here embodied in Heather, is shown to be a common person whose mental faculties are still dependent upon bodily needs. This is similar to what was done to Andy during the Flowers for Algernon section of the show, where despite his attempt at appearing confident and dignified, he was still made to feel frustration. This unmasking is seen as comic because it is a rediscovery of something familiar, that we're all susceptible to frustration or passing gas in certain circumstances. The familiar, according to Freud, is always pleasurable. Do you think you're ready to go on now?
Yes, yes, Andy.
You sure?
Sure, yes, Andy.
I'll sit right over here,
Okay, fine.
Just in case.
As I was attempting to explain earlier, Dr. Freud's theory of humor is based on the belief that it is a release of a certain amount of energy that ordinarily would have gone towards repressing hostile or sexual feelings or thoughts. Thus, when we laugh at Andy's little flatulence routine, the energy that ordinarily would have gone towards repressing those feelings of shame is released in a laugh.
So Andy wasn't really that far off when he talked about Bergson and his hostility theory.
No, not really. Bergson's theory was that everything in the living person that makes him seem like a mindless machine has a comic effect. And this results in the degradation of that living person.
Gee, how did Andy know all that about Bergson anyway?
Why, he just memorized it and recited it. It's in his script.
Oh.
Freud can Bergson that all jokes are tendentious. That is, barbed with a critical purpose at heart. In other words, jokes serve as an unconscious desire to criticize someone. This then emerges as a joke due to the need to avoid direct, critical confrontation. In fact, Freud said, often we're not really aware of what we're saying when we make a joke.
Give him an example.
Oh, okay. What's the difference between Greg and a big fat bald guy?
What?
Nothing! Of the release theory for the audience, shall we?
Lauren, get out of the booth. Get out of the booth, Lauren.
Hi, Greg. We're on stage now, Greg.
Oh, are we?
Greg! Oh, come on, Greg. Did I hurt your feelings?
Whoops! Oh.
Greg, it was a joke. Can't you take a joke, Greg? You asked for a tendentious... Not the post-show music! Oh, come on, man! Greg, you asked for a tendentious joke from the unconscious, so I just... Well, I guess this would illustrate the importance of the joking environment. According to Freud, all parties must share in the culture of joking in order for it not to be taken by someone as criticism. This next section of the show happens to be one of Greg's favorites. It's entitled Victimization as Comedy. You heard that, Greg? Doing victimization as comedy as our next section, the section where we get to explore a little of Freud's release theory.
That's not next.
Yes, it is. A section that's sort of hard to perform with calliope music and blackout, if you know what I mean. Greg! Come on, Greg! Why don't we turn off the music, Greg, and bring up the lights, and we'll do the victimization as comedy section. Look, you can write it on the board, Greg. Won't that be fun? I know you don't want to pass up this opportunity for a little transference now, do you? No. There you go. There. Victimization as comedy. As seen earlier in the disproportionate power between smart and dumb characters, the superior character often victimizes the inferior character for comic effect. One of the most obvious examples to demonstrate this is the paradigmatic relationship between the stage and the audience. I am standing on stage. Greg is standing on stage. We have memorized our lines and know more or less what is going to happen. We are the powerful. You are seated in the audience. You are seated in the audience in order to witness a play. You're here to witness a play in order to find out what is going to happen. You don't know what is going to happen. You are the powerless. But perhaps some of you, due to advertising or word of mouth, or just because you know us, have come to take part and participate in the show. Now, how many people here tonight knew that this play would be audience participatory? Just show of hands. How many people knew that coming in? Now, how many people here tonight had no idea that this play would be audience participatory? Just show of hands. Didn't know that. Okay, and finally, how many people now have the idea that it would be fun to take part and volunteer in this part of the play? Just show of hands. How many people would just really rather honestly chew their own leg off than ever?
You'd rather chew your own leg off? Get out here. Come on. Rusty. Hi. This is Heather.
Hi, Heather.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
I'm right over here. Now, I know the answer to this, but for the audience, have you ever been here before, Rusty?
No.
Are you scared?
Yeah.
Take a seat, won't you? No, not there! Don't sit there! No, 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 no!
Okay.
Greg, would you get Rusty a chair over
got it,
there?
I got it.
He'll be right back.
Okay.
Here we go. Go ahead and take a seat. All right. Now, Rusty, when I say the word victimization, what does that make you think of?
Sex.
Andy, come on here!
You know, some of these jokes aren't very funny. How are you getting along? The blind man asked the lame man. As you see, the lame man replied to the blind man. Boy, that's a hoot.
Andy, did you bring the blindfold?
Yeah, I got it right here. Well, you know, Heather, I don't think this section's a very good idea still.
Oh, that's okay, Andy. Give Greg the blindfold.
But I don't even think it's funny. Does he know what he's in for?
Rusty? Oh, yeah.
He doesn't look like he's sex.
Yeah. I mean, he's already yeah.
So he volunteered.
Oh, yeah, he had his hand up. He was waving his hand.
Well, as long as he knows what he's in for.
Okay, now, Rusty, earlier when I said the word victimization, you said that made you think of sex. Now, does that sound funny to you?
Yes.
Yes. Without getting too personal, under what circumstances might that be funny?
Between 9 and 10:30.
Okay. Although the purging of hostility is central to Freud's theory, you must believe me, Rusty, when I tell you that we would not harm or embarrass or hurt you in any way. Do you believe me?
No.
No. I mean, how would it look if we were to sodomize our audience? Oh, victimize! I'm sorry. Victimize our audience members right here on stage. I mean, how would that look? Not very good for the box office. I mean, suppose there were people here tonight who were thinking of bringing friends to a future show. That wouldn't be very good, would it? No, goodness. Okay. Earlier, Greg seemed to have his feelings hurt when I seemed to call him a big, fat, bald guy, but I was only joking, right? Yeah, and joking makes people laugh, and laughter is a good thing, isn't it? Yes. So what we'd like to do is make Greg feel a little bit better. Nobody likes to feel like they've been made fun of and are now at the bottom of the totem pole, so to speak. You know what I mean, Rusty?
I hope so.
Yeah. So what we'd like to do is give Greg a little lift, as it were. Would you just hold out your left hand for me? Yeah, right there. There we go. That's perfect. Right there. That's perfect. Good. Now, Rusty, Greg has something here for you. Something that he's tried to give to, well, a number of people in the past who, for whatever reason, just didn't seem ready for it. Do you have any idea what it might be?
Hey, Lauren, I got kind of embarrassed last night. Can you black out the lights, please?
Any guesses, Rusty? Oh my, Greg, it's a big one. It's a lovely, big, red rose. Oh, there. Isn't that nice? Greg has tried to give roses to a number of people in the past who just weren't ready for them, so we thought the blindfold might make it a little easier. Sorry about that. That's for you. You did a great job. Give him a hand.
Here, as we told you, was an example of Freud's release theory. According to Freud, laughter is not only generated when we experience a happy surprise, but also when we anticipate pain and are relieved when it does not occur. The psychic energy which is built up in the anticipation of discomfort must be released from our body, so we laugh. Right, Rusty? Now, Dr. Freud, as many of you may remember from Psych 101, was extremely concerned, some might even say overly concerned, to the point of obsession with one thing. Now, we all know what that one thing was, don't we? In fact, we might even derive a little bit of comic pleasure by speaking about the one thing, but not naming the one thing that Dr. Freud was so obsessed with. And this, of course, plays into Dr. Freud's theories themselves, for it was Freud who taught us that repression is a key ingredient when dealing with this one thing, and in fact that repression is what leads us to our comic response to talking about this one thing. Now, dare we go ahead and name the one thing that Dr. Freud was so obsessed with in an effort to overcome our repression and thereby purge our souls of any greater need to inhibit our natural responses? I think we should, but let's do it all in a complete sentence for those of us who are truly anal. Dr. Freud was obsessed with the unconscious. What'd you say? What'd you say? Nothing at all?
Sex.
You said sex, Rusty. Rusty, of course, thinks of sex. No. What? That's weird you'd say that. Okay, no. I'm glad Rusty was the only one to say it, because, no, what we're shooting for is the unconscious, because that's a little disturbing. I'll have to think about that later at home alone with a little stuffed animals. No. The unconscious is what led Dr. Freud to his study of jokes in the first place. In fact, drawing a parallel to his dream analysis, Freud said jokes are formed as a compromise between the unconscious and the preconscious. As seen by Freud, all humor really stems from repressed critical thoughts as held in the unconscious. In other words, we all have internalized, unconscious, deep-seated hostilities which our inhibitions keep us from expressing directly. Humor is our method of getting around those inhibitions in a way which can be tolerated so that we can express those thoughts. And thus we can conclude that all jokes are really an expression of an internal truth for the joke teller.
So you're saying you really are a big fat bald guy?
In Heather's eyes, yes.
You wrote the script, Greg.
That's true. So I guess I really see myself as a big fat bald guy.
So why did you make me say that? Why couldn't you say that yourself?
It wouldn't have been funny.
Why not?
From me, it would be taken as pathetic, whiny self-criticism. In order for it to appear to have gotten around societal inhibitions, I had to have somebody else say it.
But in reality, it was pathetic, whiny self-criticism.
Exactly.
Well, Greg, just so you know,
Yes, Andy.
I really do see you as a big fat bald guy.
Thanks.
And I wasn't just trying to get a mild chuckle.
Well, you go.
I mean that with all due respect.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change a thing about your current weight. I think your current girth is absolutely fabulous. I wouldn't change a thing about that saggy little belly of yours.
Oh, thank you. That's very well said.
And your head! My God, your head! What an edifice! What a dome! What an architectural marvel!
Thanks for pointing that out, Andy. I'm sure
No, really, I do see you all together as just truly marvelous. Huge. Gelatinous ball of oozing lard, whose head is hardly distinguishable from the odious mass of throbbing bristle you call your neck. A neck of such vastness that I want to take a hacksaw and try to cleave it from your shoulders, but it'd probably take a good 15 minutes of frantic carving before enough grotesque pustule and malignant flesh had been torn back to reveal your rotting, repulsive spine. Once such an incision were made around the entire circumference of your immense freakish head, I could then plunge my hands deep into the surrounding flesh and rip and tear and peel huge shards of living human cadaver, chop it up and have enough to feed a family of 4 for like 15 weeks.
That's very pretty, Andy.
Right. I'd just like to say I never thought any of those things
Well,
about
I wouldn't expect you to.
I mean, I just think of you as this big bald guy. Maybe slightly overweight, but basically just bald.
Gee, thanks, guys. Thanks. You know, I've got to go back up to the booth. Oh, but if there's anything you need, just call on Old Baldy.
Where was I on old?
Old, so obvious. Andy has given us an excellent example, not only of hyperbole and sarcasm, but also grotesque imagery which violates our sense of self and bodily cohesiveness. Such ideas confront our inhibitions in a direct, visceral, intolerable way. This leads to the aforementioned nervous energy, which must be released in a lab.
Or it's just true.
What?
It's true.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, what Greg said earlier seems to imply that I do have this deep-seated desire to do these things to him, to flay him alive and feed him to cannibals.
Well, not so much to do those things specifically, Andy, as much as hostile desires in general.
Hostile desires?
Yes. Put it this way. Freud noted that jokers often have disunited personalities and are prone to neurotic disorders.
Which means?
The difference between joking and neurosis is minimal.
So you're saying I'm crazy?
Well, no, not crazy, but just a little neurotic. But that would put you in good company, Andy. The history of 20th century humorists, as anticipated by Freud in the 19th century, is peppered with the mildly mentally ill, or at least those who suffered horrible, horrible traumas in their youth. You give me a comic, I will show you a troubled past.
Anyone?
Yeah, give me a name, Andy.
James Thurber.
Oh, okay. Was playing William Tell at age 7. He turned around and got an arrow in the eye. His mother was a Christian Scientist and wouldn't treat it. Slowly infected both eyes, and he went blind.
Really?
Yes, really. Give me another.
Wow. Henny Youngman.
Adopted by child molesters.
W.C. Fields.
His father lived a double life with 2 wives.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Psychotic break, age 12.
Woody Allen?
Oh, please.
Sorry, bad example. Billy Crystal.
His parents were Republicans.
Oh. Groucho Marx.
Lost his foot in a roller coaster at age 5.
Mark Twain.
Devoured by squirrels.
Devoured by squirrels?
Every single one.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yes.
I thought they just ate nuts and berries and stuff.
Oh, no, humorous, too. Every single one of these comics had a disturbed past which boosted their societal inhibitions, strengthened their psychic obstacles, and encouraged them to overcome these obstacles through humor. In fact, Freud posited the funnier the joke, the greater the inhibition behind it.
So you're saying the funnier I am, the greater my childhood scars?
Well, something like that. I mean, look at you, Andy. Your mother's extramarital affairs, your brother's drug addiction, his orphan children. I mean, you're a funny guy, Andy.
Wow, this sucks.
All part of the grand scheme.
What about you?
Me?
Yeah, I mean, you do the whole dumb guy thing.
Oh, you mean talk like this? Come on. Now, Andy, hang down your head like this. Yeah, like this.
Okay.
Now, talk like this.
Now talk like this.
Come on.
Come on.
Go ahead.
Go
It doesn't
ahead.
mean everything you say.
I'm gonna follow you too. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, I love that bit.
How'd you come up with that bit, Heather?
Well, I spent a lot of time with my cousin Sarah, who has Down syndrome.
That's not funny.
You don't think so?
No.
Well, once again, it is the environment of joking which creates the joke. If people were to know that, they might not find it funny. And those people who were to laugh are thought to be sick or twisted because they do not share the same societal mores and cultural inhibitions as we do.
Pretty much took the air out of that one. Hey, Heather, give me the directive.
The directive?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes. Hey, Andy.
Yes, Heather.
Take off your shirt. That's very good, Andy. Freud said the production of jokes is not infrequently an ambitious urge to display oneself, an instinct which may be equated with exhibitionism in the sexual field.
Exhibition?
Yes, I'm afraid so. A desire to see the sexual organs exposed is a central component of our libido, according to Freud. So you're just acting out on your unconscious desires there.
To be an exhibitionist?
Yeah, basically.
Everything's so damn logical, it's not fun anymore.
Exactly.
Well, you're explaining to the audience why everything is funny to make it not funny.
Yes.
Well, how is that enjoyable?
It's not.
Everything's so twisted and hostile and true.
That's right, Andy. It's quite easy to be funny. It's quite easy not to be funny. The challenge is to truly kill humor for all time by bringing the unconscious, repressed desires which inspire comedy to consciousness. We can cure the need to create comedy.
I'm bummed.
Our last little effort here tonight will be a little test to see if we have truly sucked the comedy right out of the room. Let us return to the classics.
The classics?
The classics.
Oh, don't kill the classics.
Yes, I mean Uncle Miltie.
All hail.
All right. Give me a subject. Throw out a subject. I'm sorry?
Monkeys.
Monkeys? What did you say?
Monkeys.
Monkeys. Okay. Monsters. Money. Modesty. No monkeys. Choose between money and monsters. Well, everybody likes monsters. What does a boy monster call a girl monster with 4 green heads, brown fur, and 8 club feet? I don't know. Cute.
God, she's done it. She's killed the classics.
Sorry, Andy. It's what we set out to do.
Cunt. Wait a minute. What about swearing? Swearing's always funny.
Nope.
What do you mean, nope? Oh, fuck your fucking nope.
I could explain it to you if you'd like.
Or you could just sit on my face.
I guess I can.
You're gonna sit on my face?
No, I'm going to explain it to you. You're not going to like it.
Oh, rim me.
It's addressed in Freud's infamous chapter on smut, where he concludes that lewd or obscene overtures are made towards someone whom one is specifically sexually excited by. The subject of the smut, in this case me, becomes aware of the sexual implication and is also hopefully sexually excited by it.
Yeah?
But the usual is a feeling of shame or embarrassment on the part of the subject. Now, this is a reaction to the sexual implication, and in a roundabout way, an admission of it.
So you're a little turned on?
In this case, it did not run up against my inhibition, so I did not feel embarrassed, so I did not respond by laughing.
So it wasn't funny.
No. In fact, Freud goes further to say that someone who laughs at smut that he hears is laughing as though he were a spectator of an act of sexual aggression.
Whoa. Wait a minute, wait. So you're saying that when our audience volunteer, Rusty, thought that he was going to hold on to Greg's penis, those who were laughing in sympathy for aggression.
According to Freud.
And the reason why Greg wrote the victimization in his comedy section is because he really wanted to place his penis in some strange guy's left hand.
Once again, yes, according to Freud.
And the reason why Greg chose this particular audience volunteer is because Greg wants to fuck him?
Precisely.
And so this whole play was written to get around his inhibitions and express his unconscious desires.
Exactly.
And to kill comedy. Why would anyone want to kill comedy?
To see if they can do without it.
Why would anyone want to do that?
To see if they can handle their unconscious, repressed desires without the need to hide behind comedy.
But what about us? Why do it to us?
To see if we can handle it too. And to act out a little hostility.
Well, what kind of reason is that?
An unconscious one. A traditional one. A comic one.
But it's not funny.
No. But it is kind of amusing.
All right, okay, wait. So the aim was to make everyone aware of where comedy comes from, to ruin our natural response to it, and then to see if that was still funny?
Exactly.
Did he succeed?
Well, we'll find out. It's all part of an ongoing search for the truth.
Fuck the truth.
Well, I guess not.
Fuck the truth. Fuck comedy. Fuck Freud.
Well, actually, Freud would say
Fuck
that
what Freud would say.
Excuse me.
Fuck him. He gets no shit about my internal workings.
Really?
Yeah, he can just go fuck himself.
Would you care to rephrase that?
Oh, sure. Freud can take his puny little cock and just go suck himself off for fantasizing about my repressed sexual desires. The goddamn wanker.
Well, I must say, Greg, your response only proves Freud's theories.
Fuck you, Heather.
What?
Fuck you.
Are you saying you want to fuck me?
No, I'm saying fuck you, Heather.
Well, Freud would say that such an outburst does, in fact, indicate a desire to fuck me.
Well, I would say that such an outburst does, in fact, indicate a desire to say fuck you, Heather. Whether I want to fuck you or not is beside the point.
But you do, don't you?
Well, of course I've dreamed about fucking you and I fantasize about going down on you in the back room after the show, but what does that really mean?
It means you want to fuck Heather.
Oh, come on, Andy! And I want to kill my father and marry my mother.
Apparently.
Oh, come on. Andy, just because I say you can suck my dick doesn't mean I want you to do it.
Sure it does.
No, it doesn't. It's a joke.
No, according
No,
to
it's so any joke I make is really the truth.
Yes, we all have our libidinous fantasies to act out our hostile and sexual desires.
Including you.
Yes, all of us. We all have.
Including you.
Yes, me
no,
too. We
no,
all
I don't
have.
believe you.
Don't believe
I don't
what?
believe you when you say that.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
I do.
You are
I have
completely
been.
unaware
No,
of it.
yes,
You
I am.
won't admit
Yes,
it
yes,
anyway.
yes. Well, look, I want to fuck Rusty here just as much as you.
You want to fuck Rusty?
Yes, yes. I can see my legs wrapped around Rusty's head. Yeah. Yeah.
But we're supposed to be analyzing whether I have a deep-seated desire to fuck Rusty.
Well, do you?
Well, of course I do. Why do you think I chose him as the audience volunteer to give him a rose?
Well, earlier you said you didn't.
Well, I didn't know I'd have to compete for him.
I don't want sloppy seconds on Rusty.
Well, there's got to be somebody else in the audience you want to fuck, Heather.
Fine, I'll fuck him and then I'll fuck Rusty.
What if I'm not done with Rusty?
Couldn't you start with somebody else?
I suppose I could fuck you, then fuck Rusty, then fuck my way down the first row. That's the only considerate thing to do, having worked with you for 11 years now.
That's very nice, Fred.
No, there's really nothing nice about it. I'm talking about mean, hard, riotous fucking.
Ooh, I like
Ooh,
that.
I'm getting a Woody just thinking about it.
Hey, Greg.
Yes, Heather?
Take off your shirt.
Sure. Come to Papa.
You'll have to catch me,
Oh,
right?
I'm up for that. Come on. Hey, give me some of that. Come on here, baby. Come on. Watch out for the moonlight. Oh, I gotta come back and fuck all these people. Come on.
Is this the promised end or image of that horror? That's King Lear, Act 5, Scene 5. therapy.